Okay, this is Lucia and Bruce, and this is your HSJ security update. And the objective of this little YouTube is it's going to be available for 10 days. We're recording information about two things, about the recommendations that we're making, so primarily a security gate at the front, and Bruce has been exploring the options there. So he hasn't told me about these options. I just invited him over and he's going to explain it. And if there's something I don't understand, I'll be able to interject questions and hopefully it will make it clear for all of us. And then at the end, I'd like to give you just a short roundup of what we've been doing with the protocol at the gate and the training for the guards. So we'll make this available for 10 days so that people can get the information about the gate primarily, and then we'll call a security meeting and we can discuss and get the opinion of the community, and you can field any questions that you might have and so on. Okay?
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, so what is the reason for the gate?
What is the reason for the gate? Well, okay, so in my view, okay, the reason for the gate is fourfold. And I've done a lot of thinking about this.
Yeah.
It is to eliminate the loitering at the gate. So right now we have the tendency for families to be at the gate. We have the tendencies for people who are playing volleyball to buy a beer and come over and visit with the guy at the gate, right? So all loitering would be eliminated if the gate, and we're talking about the column, the first gate,
Correct.
not the second one,
Yeah.
set in, right?
The green, yeah.
Okay, so if that's closed all the time, then no more loitering, and it gives the perception of more security, so it sends a message to the greater Vilcabamba community. Once again, Hacienda San Joaquin is increasing their security protocol.
Right.
It, let's see, what was the third one?
Pressure.
Let's see, it's a second layer of security, right? So what we're envisioning is having the gate, right now at least,
Yep.
and people being able to automatically open the gate themselves, or to ask the guard to open it for them if they don't want to do that.
That's right.
Because the guard is still there. The protocol exists and will remain the same at the front gate, right?
Yep.
And the chain will be there, so you'll drive in, they'll check you in as always. That's where they do their protocol. And then you'll enter, okay? So, but we're going to get into that in detail. And the fourth thing is it becomes a plan B. So in case we fall on hard financial times here, as the global financial system continues to unravel,
Yeah.
then, and if that affects Ecuador and we end up in dire straits, we're still going to have a contingency. We'll have a way to get in and out of the community and continue with the perception that we are a gated community, right?
Right.
Those are the four things I've come up with.
Right. It's an important thing to understand that, it's not because there's something wrong with the hacienda or something wrong with our guards right now. It just gives an extra layer of protection when it comes to the security. Obviously, a lot of people think that our lowest point is part of the riverway is our easily breached area, but also if you don't have security at the front gate and they just have right of way to come in, we obviously want to stop that if something goes wrong with the HSJ in the future. So that's what we're going to present to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Good.
So what do you want me to do now?
Let's see. So you've got your quote. Let's talk about Angel Duran, because
Sure.
I know Angel Duran for a while because he's my gardener's cousin. So I know that he travels all around Ecuador and does pretty high-profile security systems.
Correct.
Like at banks for vaults and gated communities and private security and all kinds of security things. And I know when you met him, you said you were really impressed with his knowledge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's done a couple of things here for me, and I've been very pleased. And I know he works for other people in the hacienda. And we interviewed two people, basically, or three. I talked
Correct.
to somebody else,
Yeah.
and he was our first choice. And how does he rate in terms of expense?
He's about the same in all reality. The education when it comes to the knowledge behind the security. He's just a vast array of knowledge and products that he can actually bring into Ecuador, or if not, they're available here to use. So his mother and father live on Chaupi, and so he's very well known on this side of Chaupi. He's very well known. So he set up my security system at my house. A very nice guy, you know, just very intelligent when it comes to security wise.
Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to cost wise, so I've come up with a number. It's going to be around $5,000 ish, meaning it give or take a couple $100. So it's hard for me to explain. So I'm going to post these performas to a link within the email itself, so you can actually take a look at it. It'll show you exactly what's needed when it comes to an electronic gate, the system, the telephone, how do you get access, the cards, everything like that. So basically what we're here to do to talk to you today is to inform you of what's going on, and then in 2 weeks or so we'll call a meeting for the entire hacienda to come and explore this idea with us. So we can either add something else that we never thought of, or take away something else that was not needed. Okay, so we're looking, like I said, around $5,500 in total. So below
That's 5,500.
5,500. What did I say?
55,000.
Oh shit! No, no, $5,500. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So we have basically an electronic arm that would be hooked up to the current gate that is at the front. So it's, again, what Lucia said, it's the initial gate that you come in. It's a big green steel one. So the cost of that, I should have brought my glasses, is $1,400. So they're two Vulcan arms that swing the ports or swing the doors open like this, and they close them. Okay?
So you investigated one that went like this.
Correct.
And then we talked about this one with the heavy duty arm.
Yeah, Angel said that the ones that are on the tracks that go back and forth, they seem to be a little bit more, they break down more. Because you know, rocks and stuff like that get into the tracks and stuff, so they actually have to be tuned up every once in a while. So these are pretty much, you don't have anything to worry about when it comes to this. I think once a year, he said, you come in and check to make sure that everything is okay.
Yeah, and it has to be oiled. I know because
Correct.
I have one, only my arms are not the industrial arms.
Right.
Mine are for private use. And then there's also a key that you have where you can unlock.
Correct. Manual.
You can dismantle it.
That's right.
If you have an issue or you don't have electricity, it needs electricity to open.
That's right. So
you can dismantle it and do it manually.
Yeah. So that's a very good thing that I was going to say. And
Sorry.
no. I mean that it's a manual, because most people, the first question is what happens when the electricity goes down. Like you get out of your car, you have a key, you connect it, and then open the gate, and then lock it when you leave, right, sort of thing. So, and there's also a security man at the front gate. So this basically allows everybody that here is in the hacienda and the workers itself entrance to the hacienda without having to deal with security personnel. Okay, because everybody has a card or everybody has given their thumbprint. So they don't really have to stop at the security to say who I am and what's going on and stuff like that.
Because the thumbprint will
Correct.
Automatically record who it is that's
Correct.
entering. Okay.
Correct. So what happens is that comes in, so when you drive in towards the thing, there's a box that is hooked up to, and it's in the description below. So it is called, hold on. It is called Video Intercom Metal Door Station. So basically it's a unit that sits outside of the gate, probably 10 meters or something like that. You drive up to it and you either put your fingerprint or you can show a card. All the cards that are presented to the hacienda could either be given to workers or to somebody that's family or apartment people that are renting apartments and stuff like that. These are all
like
set.
Like a long-term visitor who comes?
Correct. Yeah. So you basically, the system is held. So say a lot of people, I can see what the questions are going to be. So what happens if you fire a worker? So what you do is you inform the security area that they have to eliminate a card. So the number, there's a number associated to each individual card. So basically they just go to the computer system and remove that card, and that card is null and void. It's just like going to a hotel, right? So the hotel is, you just program it in for a certain amount of time and then it's no good.
Okay. So even if that card gets lost somewhere in Vilcabamba,
Correct.
then you can dismantle the card.
Correct.
The card number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at any time. So it's fairly simple. Angel said that he would school the security personnel on how to add and remove your workers and yourself and stuff like that from the computer system. So that's basically what we need to get internet to the main office or to the main house down there. That costs $200. The arm itself costs $1,400. The box that you would receive when it comes to telephone, so somebody would come up to the gate and would want to phone you for some reason. You'd have your telephone number as a telephone that's outside of the gate as well. So they call you and then you say, okay, you're here, and then you can just phone in and open the door.
Okay, so they can call you on your cell phone and connect that way, and you can open the door.
Correct.
Or they can use this handheld phone.
Correct. So
is that right to call your cell phone?
Correct. So it's more of a, I'm trying to see, again, it's in the description. So it's a box about this big, and it's mounted, and it just looks like it's got a little antenna, and you just telephone the phone number sort of thing, and it's hooked up to the internet, and it just basically calls you, and then receives. So you receive the call from your guest, and then when you receive the call from your guest, you call in through this app. So there's an app that's associated to this system here, which I can't show you now, but it's in the description below. So it basically, the app is then programmable to each and everybody's phone to open the gate.
So this is an app on your phone?
Correct.
Okay, now we have people here who either don't have reception or they don't like to use cell phone.
Correct.
How do they get contacted?
I'd like to say get a new phone, because this is just the way that it works so much easier if you don't have if you're allowed to put apps on your phone. Yeah. This will in the future, when we have the ability to do maybe security cameras up and down the main road or stuff like that, so you can actually be visible, and if you're up and you're wondering what's going on, or if the people are doing their jobs or whatever it is, you can go on to the server at any time and kind of be a neighborhood watch. Yeah. Right?
Okay, so this isn't going to be good for calling a landline if somebody doesn't have a cell phone.
Correct. Well, everybody doesn't have landlines here, do they?
No, but I'm saying if there are people who don't want a cell phone because of the radiation,
oh, right,
or because it doesn't work in their area,
right,
then could we call a landline and then have the app on the computer?
Very good question. I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
So what I plan to do is,
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No. I knew I wasn't going to have all the answers, but that's okay. So what I've offered to do is we're going to call a meeting, and we're going to bring in Angel to actually describe exactly what every function does of the security and what the $5,500 is going to be used to do. There's so many things that I could walk you through right now, but it's just it's mechanical.
Yeah, but this gives us a prelude.
Yeah.
And you're going to put the links below in the YouTube.
Correct.
So people can watch the arms opening.
Correct.
And all that kind of stuff, and maybe it helps to assemble some questions in people's minds.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's fairly simple. If anybody's been out and had an electronic gate or been to a neighborhood with an electronic gate, it's fairly simple. You know, you go drive up, you make the telephone call to the house. The homeowner opens the house via a special lock that's on the gate itself. So the phone is connected to this special lock, which untriggers and then it opens. For your workers and stuff like that, you hand out cards. The cards are listed in the computer. Every time you can add a card or to remove a card or whatever happens to you personally and your worker. If you had to fire them or whatever like that. Each card costs $5. So it's up to the homeowner how many cards he or she wants. And then it's just a matter of him coming in and doing some training, which I've arranged for him to do. Okay. So he'll come in and give you a full evaluation of how, like we'll hold a security meeting and sort of a how-to session on how to enter and what to do when somebody comes and visits you.
Okay, so who is going to be in charge? We need someone in charge of the computer system, and is that going to be the guards, or is that going to be one of us? I
would think it would be the admin building as of for right now. Christina would probably be the best person, and that this way she can add and remove cards, and so the security can kind of focus on their job at hand.
Okay, and the other question that came up was because when I had talked to Angel Duran about this, he had suggested using a cell phone to open the gate, right? And now you're talking about cards and fingerprints, and why do you think that's better? Because when he explained it to me, you would use your cell phone to call the number. It would be like a 3-digit number or something. And even if the cell phone didn't have minutes or didn't even have a carrier, it would still activate the thing. And if your cell phone was in the computer program as a verifiable number, it would open the gate. Yeah, but this gives what is the difference?
The difference kind of puts the responsibility back to the homeowner to make sure that, I think every homeowner will be fingerprint or have a main master card sort of thing. I will have to find out more on that. Okay. I can't.
Or you just like the Star Trek method maybe better.
I just like the Star Trek method, maybe. Yeah, for sure. Easier the better, sort of thing. I know people are worried about telephones and stuff like that. Yeah. But this is security. This is your main thing, and the only thing that you need to do is get a small phone to have access to the internet. The canyon, I'm trying to figure out the canyon. Yeah. Because I know that we have a problem with some of the people up in the canyon with the telephones and stuff like that. But like I said, this is just sort of the first initial meeting, and then when he comes, we can bring in a translator that can talk to Angel and explain what situations we have, and maybe he can come up with a solution. Okay. Right? Yeah. There's systems. I looked at a bunch of different ones. There was video screening where you could screen video, and everybody in each individual home would have to have a video, like TV sort of thing, so you can actually see people. But the costs are quite high. They're like $10,000, and would include. That's including 70 camera units. So you would be responsible for $35 a piece. But it's still $7,000, right? So it's a lot more tech involved when it comes to the Star Trek thing. But I think that the way that this is, it's much more easier for us to delete users, add users, and to be completely secure at the front gate when it comes to security.
Okay. I'm going to just swing back around and ask one thing. How did we start with this? About, shoot, I've lost it.
It's good. Again, like Lucia said, we're in a times where, there's financial crisis going across the U.S., and who knows if that's going to come here to Ecuador or not. but I do think that, you know, having more control when it comes to security throughout the HSJ is the best way to go, because if something goes wrong, at least we have some sort of system to focus on when it comes to security. This system that I'm saying to you could be changed in a lot of ways. There could be cameras put out throughout the whole entire place, and it'd be hooked up to the computer. So it's basically the internet that I was talking about before, right? Of setting up. But
that's my question.
Okay.
Were you finished?
No, yeah,
Before I lose it again.
No, yeah, go
okay,
on.
fiber optics, right? The $200 you're talking about is to run fiber optics.
See.
And what other advantages does that give us?
Okay, so okay, right. That's good question. So the fiber optics that is $200. I talked to Ivan yesterday, and it's $200 to bring the fiber optics to the front gate. The fiber optics would hook up to the system here, as well as the current cameras and additional cameras that are going to be placed at the front gate. There's a 2 terabyte drive that's there, in a DVR, and then these other cameras that are up to speed, I guess.
So they can monitor all the cameras on one screen?
Yeah, so if you had a problem in Hacienda, you could go to the video. You could go to the video and find out, see the timestamp, okay, this happened at what time. So you can actually see who came in, as well as to the computer of who was in the Hacienda at the time due to the cards. So every time the card is swiped or your fingerprint's done, it goes to the computer.
Yeah.
And the computer registers when you were in and then when you were out.
Okay. Okay, and so that we have 4 cameras there, and those would be working.
Right.
Working.
Right.
Yeah, and then we have 2 high definition cameras. So we were thinking to put 1 camera inside of the
Right.
guardhouse.
That's right.
So we can tell if everything is kosher at
Right.
night.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important that we're not here to monitor, you know, the security people, but we are here in Ecuador. So the two brand new cameras that are high definition would go on the outsides, and then we've got 4 to play around with that are old cameras. That we'll have to check. I don't know if they're 720p, but they're not high definition. But we can use them at different locations throughout the entrance or coming into the entrance, you know, sort of thing. So there's a lot of things that we can do. It's just like I said to you, and there's going to be a lot of questions. I'm still learning. I'm not a security guy. I've never been a security guy, and especially don't speak, you know, 100% Spanish. So I'm trying to learn both ways. But I do believe that this is the system for HSJ. It just allows us to take control of everybody that comes in and out of the Hacienda right now. You know, there won't be any stoppages of workers or anything like that. Everybody's going to have a card. Everybody just puts the card in front of the reader, and then it opens the door, and they go through, and then they sign out when they leave.
Okay, so we're talking about the gate, and basically the gate, as far as most of us are concerned, is about perception, right?
Yep.
And sending a message that we have high-tech security here. But I know that the question is going to arise, well, what about the river? Because that's our point of greatest vulnerability.
Right.
So do we want to hit the laser configuration a little bit?
I have a kind of a quote. You know, it really depends on each individual, and I guess the Hacienda as a whole. You know, the systems run anywhere from $1,000 and down. It really depends on, you know, the line of sight. So every time that you put a post in one of those laser things, that, you know, if you got a curve in your property or there's a tree and the laser doesn't have a 100% sight from one side to the other, you have to put another post, and then you have to sort of make the fence. So the more posts that you have, the more cost it goes up. So what I'm asking, and maybe for the future, is that the Hacienda maybe consider paying 50% of the cost when it comes to the laser fencing along the riverfront. So the homeowners would have the option of paying half if they would like that. It's kind of hard to, I'm hoping that everybody gets involved with it, but I'm sure that we're not going to have 100%, right? It's best, to make sure that you're secure in your own home. We can try our best as a security committee to try to offer up ideas, but in all reality, you have to make sure that you're secure. If you're interested in getting a home security alarm, we've got a couple of people that we've discussed home security alarms with, and I'm sure they'd be happy to help you. But as of the river, myself, I'm doing a laser fence. It's a 3-layer laser fence, so you can come in 1, 2, 4, and 5 lasers.
You mean vertically?
No, so the laser goes from one point to the next, right? And it's either one stream of lasers or there's 5.
Oh, wow.
Right? So this way people can't duck underneath it or whatever. So there's many different costs involved with that, and if you're interested in finding out more, contact me and I can put you in contact with Angel, and Angel will come up and give you a personal quote on the property on the river. Yeah,
I just had one of these installed, 2 on either side of my property. So my principal driveway, there's a laser running across, so if anybody enters that driveway at night, or if they enter from the other side of the property, there's quite a long, they're like 50 meters, I think, the ones that are... Yeah, and so it's just a little housing, and you have this laser on both sides, and it has to be hooked up to electric, so there's an additional cost for Freddie or whomever to come in and dig the trenches and put down the tubing that the cables will run through. And come into your house. So then there's an alarm system, a little unit that sits, in your closet or your bedroom, wherever. And then it beeps, but also it has, mine has lights. So one color is for the driveway, one color is for the opposite side. And I can tell where someone has entered. And that way, you just shut down all your lights in the house, you go to the windows, you see, what's happening outside.
It's neat. It's the last person that we had in Hacienda was broken through the river, and probably the most people that were here that were actually had theft from was from the river.
3 of the 4 that I know of since I've been here.
So it does bring up concern, but again, like I said to you, it all comes down to the homeowner. You have to understand that either one, you're going to help out the people that are on the river to secure the whole hacienda as a whole, because if they're going to have all the cost to them, they might not do it. And it makes all of us more secure. That's the point. I mean, obviously the people who have river properties are the most vulnerable. But if someone's going to come in across the river, we're all vulnerable. That's right.
If they don't care to break into your house, they'll come to mine.
That's right.
So I like the idea of bearing the cost, having a shared.
It's again, we'll have to go over this when we have the security meeting. It's a good idea. I believe that we need to, at least try a little bit at a time to implement something that it comes to security. That's our main focus. And I've talked to a lot of people here, and it seems like, that's all they talk about, is to make sure that the place is secure. What are our security people doing? Blah, 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 blah. So we'll keep continuing to investigate. And like I said, look in the description below, and you'll see these systems that he's included links to videos and stuff like that, so it actually gives you an idea of what the system is and how it works and stuff like that. So,
Okay, can I take it from here?
You can take it from here.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the front gate protocol. So let's see, we have implemented the front gate protocol. It's been a big training exercise to do this. It's, when somebody has for this many years been doing a certain routine, it's hard to get them to change their routine. And so But we've managed to do that. As I said, Bruce has been looking into the electronics. I've been doing much more of the human relations piece and the training. And so I'm very pleased with the protocol. I can't be there all the time to watch to make sure everybody's doing everything. But that's what I wanted to appeal to you about today. And that is that we can all help. You know, our problem in the past is that we get the protocol tight, and then whoever is doing security backs up from it and doesn't keep their attention on it, and it starts to slide again, and then suddenly it's back to the old norm. And I would like to see it stay at a high level. So we can help by doing that ourselves. You know, when you come into the gate, it's not so much correcting them, but just complimenting them or saying thank you for the improved protocol. Or, you know, sometimes I come in and I say, Jorge, you know, for the last couple of weeks, you've been coming up to my car and asking me, is everything okay? And scanning the inside of the car. I like that. You didn't do that today. How come? Right? So I'm planting a seed in him to say, wow, I should return back to the old protocol. So that would be very helpful if everybody would take an interest. I think they would really appreciate. They have already really appreciated all of the attention and the concern and, you know, somebody stepping up to support them, to be on their side, to argue their case when it comes to their new contract, whatever. So they're already feeling that. And the way that I am hoping to maintain this increased enthusiasm is through the training. Balthazar has offered so generously to do this training for them each Monday at the gate. So if you come in on Monday between 5 and 7, you'll see William there, who's on our maintenance team. And William's covering the gate while all 5 guards go to the gym and work out with Balthazar. So we've only had one training because we had Carnival. Now we resume again. Tomorrow, we're recording on Sunday, March 1st. So on the 2nd, we'll have our second training. And they're learning stance. They're learning to become more solid in their stance so someone can't push them over. They're learning hand strikes of various types. They're learning how to defend, how to fall, how to disable a knife, all of these sorts of things. And they love it. So if we can keep them interested in this training, and I would encourage you, I'm going on Mondays to watch them, to support them. Anybody else who would like to come to the gym, I would say between 6 and 7. They're always a little bit late getting there because this is Ecuador. That would be very helpful. They would appreciate that. So yeah, that's the update on the front gate protocol.
Sorry.
You were being cameraman. Anything else?
No, I think that's basically about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an agenda together and we'll email it out to the community with what the security meeting is going to be about. Yeah. Again, be patient with us because we are learning, but we're putting in a lot of effort trying to get all the stuff, information together to present to you. So it'll probably be within the next couple of weeks or so. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. Okay, so onward and upward, and hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining us.